Thanks so much for stepping out and being willing to be a host for a 40 Days of Community small group. In this session, we're going to tell you about how you can prepare for your small group lesson and what you can expect in a typical small group lesson. First, let's talk about preparation. Each week, prior to your group meeting, watch the Helps for Hosts feature on your VHS or DVD. This is your personal time as a host with Pastor Rick when he'll be telling you what to expect in each lesson. And he'll give you some tips on how to lead your group that week. He'll give you a short review of the content of that week's lesson. He'll also give you some exercises that you can expect in the lesson and any important steps your group needs to take during that week. So each week, be sure to take a few minutes to watch this weekly feature before your group arrives. It's typically 3 to 5 minutes long, except for the first one. It's about 10 minutes long. Second, look through the study guide prior to your group meeting, familiarizing yourself with the content for the week. As you do, remember, you don't have to cover every single question in every session. Use your best judgment. Some groups, because of size and time, are unable to cover each question. That's why it's important for you as the host to watch each week's Helps for Hosts and to look over each week's study guide beforehand so you can plan the flow of your own small group meeting. To assist you in planning your time, we've done a couple of things. You'll see suggested time frames for each section of the lesson. These suggested times are based on a 90-minute time frame for your group. This leaves ample time for you to have a snack, settle in, and when finished, wrap up your time in a good way. Remember, it's important that you honor the time frame that you've all committed to. Many people have work in the morning, a babysitter to get home to, or other plans that they've committed to. Use these suggested time frames as a reminder not to get bogged down in a particular section of the curriculum. When you've used up the suggested time, move on to the next section. We've also placed an asterisk next to the question or exercise in each section of the lesson. If you have time for only one question or exercise, we suggest you use the question or exercise marked with this asterisk. Third, I want to encourage you to pray. Each week, prior to your group meeting, take some time to pray. Pray for yourself first. Pray that God would give you love and wisdom and direction as you serve the people in your group. Pray for your group members, that they would enjoy the time, that they would hear God's voice, that they would grow spiritually. And then pray for your whole group, that you all together would be growing in community during these 40 days. Now let's take a few minutes to talk about what you can expect to see in each lesson. Each member of your group will receive a 40 Days of Community workbook. It'll contain the 40 Days of Community daily readings, the 40 Days of Community journal, and the 40 Days of Community small group study guide. Make sure they know to bring their workbook each and every week. There are 5 basic sections to each lesson, and each section corresponds to one of the 5 biblical purposes of God. We begin with the Connect Together section. This is a focus on the purpose of fellowship. This is the opportunity for the group to check in with each other about their progress and applying what they're learning from week to week. There's an icebreaker question as well. Sometimes there'll be an exercise for your group to do. For example, the first week, you'll talk about the Saddleback Small Group Guidelines. Other weeks, you'll have opportunity to check your progress on such things as your daily readings, your outreach project, and prayer requests. Normally, you'll spend 10 to 12 to 15 minutes in this section. Next is the Grow Together section, which focuses on the purpose of discipleship. In this section, you'll work on your weekly memory verse. We hope your group will really take the time to memorize each of the weekly verses. Be aware that memorization might be new to some people, and to others it might be very difficult. Encourage them, though, to do their very best and model it as a leader. Each week, review your memory verses with the group. Take a few minutes in this section to read the weekly memory verse several times over and work on memorizing it. Next, you'll play the video teaching for that week. You can expect the teaching to go about 20 to 25 minutes. Encourage your group members to follow along in their workbook, taking notes. This teaching will be followed also by a few discussion questions related to the main points that Pastor Rick teaches in the lesson. The third section is what we call the Serve Together section. And this section focuses on the purpose of ministry, and ministry specifically to those in the body of Christ. In this section, you'll discuss questions and ideas directly related to your service and ministry in your small group and in your church. Often, there will be an exercise for the group to do together. In the fourth section, called the Share Together section, you'll focus on evangelism and outreach by considering how each week's lesson relates to sharing your faith with non-Christians. Here you'll discuss your outreach project, preparing and planning for how you and your group will participate in our effort to feed the 35,000 homeless who are in Orange County. Finally, in the Worship Together section, you'll express thanksgiving and praise to God through prayer and singing together. A thought about prayer. When you close your meeting with prayer requests, followed by conversational prayer, don't force anyone to pray out loud. Be sensitive to those in your group who are inexperienced with group prayer or feel inadequate or are new to a small group environment. Encourage your group to pray as they're comfortable. Now let me share with you one final thought. Remember to encourage your small group members to read their daily devotions in the Better Together workbook. Remind everyone that their daily devotions are important for their overall experience, even in the small group time. Each devotion can be read in 3 or 4 or 5 minutes. That's really all you have to do to lead your small group. Watch the Helps for Hosts with Pastor Rick, familiarize yourself with the lesson, and pray. We have a saying around here at Saddleback. It goes like this. To be a successful host, you just need to stay one step ahead of your group so you can show everyone else what their next step is along the way. May God bless you as you serve your group.